Now we're going to learn how to strum the ukulele. To actually start with this, we're going to use a technique that I learned here on Ukulele Underground from Aldrin Guerrero. What this technique is we're going to take the uke and we're going to set it down. We're going to take our strumming hand and we're going to reach it straight out. Now pretend that you're grabbing a doorknob. Now go ahead and twist the doorknob. This motion with our forearm here is actually the type of motion that we want to utilize when strumming. We want to make sure that we're twisting our forearm like this and not yanking our elbow down and up. You'll notice that this is very inefficient and we don't have a lot of space that we need to cover when strumming an ukulele. So let's go ahead and pick up our ukuleles and let's learn the chord that we're going to practice while strumming. It's one of my favorite chords ever. It's called an A minor 7, and the way you play it is just like this. All open strings. So for this example, we're just going to leave all the strings open, take our fretting hand and just lightly hold up the neck of the ukulele like so. Now what we want to do is take our index finger to make this strumming motion. Now you can use your thumb, some people use other fingers. There's no real right or wrong way to strum an ukulele. But for this example, we're going to use a technique called the mono roll. The mono roll uses just this index finger here and allows you to build up a lot of speed and get a lot of good precision when you're strumming. So let's go ahead and try this. We're going to take our index finger and we're going to strum downward using the nail of the finger, flicking the finger over the strings while turning our wrist in that doorknob motion. Now one of the questions I get asked is, where do I flick this finger? Do I do it down here? Do I do it up here? Do I do it down there? Well, luckily we've got this thing that I call the sweet spot on an ukulele, and what that is the space where the fretboard meets the body of the ukulele. You'll notice that the neck ends right here and the sound hole begins right here. That little space is what I like to use to strum over. There's two reasons for this. One, the more important one, is it sounds the best. When we're strumming down here, we start to get a little bit of a banjo-like tone, and obviously if we're strumming up any higher, we're getting in the way of our fretting hand. So the tone is very good right here, and that works to our advantage. The other reason I like it is when you're starting to strum really fast. It's easy for the finger to kind of catch on the strings if you're strumming somewhere over here. You'll notice that as my index finger goes down, if I'm digging in a little bit too much, my finger can get caught on the string and it can hurt quite a bit. So by doing it in this sweet spot, it'll actually hit the fretboard before it would hit the string. And while that can still hurt a little bit, it won't be nearly the pain of catching on the string. So it acts as a little bit of a ramp for our strumming motion. So let's go ahead and try doing our down strum now. We're going to flick the index finger down over the sweet spot using the nail of the finger over all four strings. Now what we want to look at is our up strum. The up strum comes with the fleshy part of the pad of the finger coming back over the strings. It's very important to not turn the hand and try to use the nail coming back up or anything like that. Up strums tend to sound just a little bit different than down because of the pad of the finger being used. And as we flick our finger upward, what I like to do as kind of a point of reference is flick the pointer finger so it's sort of facing your chin. Notice I'm still making that doorknob motion as I'm going. So let's go ahead and try this a few times. So now when we put these two together, we get our mono roll, and that's essentially when we're strumming over all four strings, both down and up. Let's go ahead and try it a few times. And that's how we strum an ukulele.